Good afternoon. Welcome to this workshop. I'm Sahana Murthy, the current head of PPCCLT, and we are pleased to welcome Dr. Briju Thankachan for this workshop on team-based learning today. This is one of the first such events that PPCCLT is holding this semester, and I think, among other things, the rain is responsible. We have like a small turnout, but the good thing is it's a small group, and we can get a lot of detailed discussions and all done. This workshop is being conducted and led by Dr. Briju Thankachan. He is a visiting scientist in the Educational Technology IDP at IIT Bombay this year. Before that, he has extensive experience in instructional design. He was the teaching faculty in Ohio University, and he right now, I'll just tell you something interesting that's not on his formal CV. So this year, so he's lived in the US for PhD, postdoc, teaching for several years, and this year he and his family are, they've moved to a small village near Nanded in Maharashtra. And he's working with some local NGO and with an engineering college there, and his entire family is based there. And I think a lot of interesting things are happening there which you bring to the teaching field. In the department, he's teaching a few first-year classes and so on. Okay, so I'll hand it over to Dr. Briju Thankachan. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Sahana Murthy, and I just want to thank you for the PCCLE department to invite me to give a section on the team-based learning. And so the team-based learning, so I will be briefly talking about team-based learning, how I got interested in instructional design and the team-based learning. So the ultimate goal is to help the learners learn better, right? So when I am talking to you, I don't know what is going on in your brain in the cognitive level, right? So no one can predict, means there is no real display that shows, okay, this much information is transferred. But this is an evidence-based instructional strategy, team-based learning. There are hundreds of research they did on the team-based learning. Okay, especially in the medical and management, and also in the engineering. So mostly in the medical and the management. So the school that I was working earlier in Ohio University, I was the director of curriculum design and assessment at the Ohio University College of Medicine. So in 2017, the entire curriculum moved into the team-based learning actually. So the whole students, they had 3 campuses. And if you look at most of the medical schools in India, they are using this pedagogy. So they do see a value in team-based learning. And also it can apply to any field actually. So the Larry Michelson actually. So these are the 2 books about team-based learning. Okay. So he was struggling. He was a professor in one of the management school. Then he had 200 students in the class. So then he was doing the lecture, and so then he was wondering why there is no engagement in the classroom. So then he kind of started experimenting with the teaching, using this methodology. So that's the way it's kind of created the team-based learning. So I will be showing you at the end some of the next steps that you can do after you hear about this presentation. So before that, I would like to, I know most of you sent the Google form, but just to tell your name and the area that you are studying or teaching. And so if you have any experience earlier with the team-based learning or group project, I know some of you did some kind of a team-based group project-based learning or problem-based learning. What was your experience with that one? So if you can briefly talk about that one, that would be good.
Good afternoon to all. Myself Chintan Dikshit, working as a project engineer in the Department of EE. So actually I don't have much of exposure to the team-based learning, but in the research lab we have to do team-based learning somehow, but would love to learn more things here.
So myself Grishma, I am finally a PhD student in Department of Electrical Engineering. So according to me, I have always attended conventional teaching experience and all. I never been to this team-based learning. So when I got to know, okay, there is a workshop on this, I found, okay, this might be the starting point where I can actually do, because I'm interested in academia. So this might be a first step for the teaching exposure to me.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Namya Sharma. I'm a fourth year PhD student in Center for Urban Science and Engineering. And in my 4 years, I've realized that research is one thing and teaching is totally different aspect. And although you might know something, but communicating that to other people is an art, actually, as previously said. And apart from that, especially in the recent years of online teaching, what I've observed that the teaching style is changing very rapidly. We are very fastly moving from conventional teaching methods to various other methodologies. So the time when I was a student in my BTech days and when I am seeing the classes happening right now, they are very different. So I just want, because I want to pursue academics in my future career path, as a future career path. So I was interested in this course.
Myself, Professor Jayendran. I'm a faculty in Industrial Engineering and Operations Research, more than 15 years. In my course, I do experiment at a small level in the form of group projects, group assignments, and presentations. I've tried different formats over the years, but I don't have any winning formula. I keep experimenting and I'm not very fully satisfied at the end of it. And this semester, first time I'm trying to teach in this room, which will force me, I thought, to maybe have more in-class participations. The last 2 years, the pandemic has opened up newer challenges and how to communicate that made me change the entire way in which things are taught. So that has posed newer challenges. And compared to my first 7-8 years, the last 5-6 years, the heterogeneity in students has increased. I have now students from math background, policy studies, Sitara, industrial engineering, undergrad 3rd year students to graduate students, civil management school students. But even if I engage in class, even here in this room, I tell them, I give a said, why don't you just pair up and work on it? Still, there is quite silent and people just want to do their own thing and just, I'm not able to really stimulate lively discussions or something. So I thought, there's a lot to learn, right? As people told, teaching is a art. So we are still, so I thought maybe this will give some more tips on how we can improve it. That's why I'm here.
Team-based learning, there are, at least 4 types of sessions actually. This is just a fundamental principles of introduction, okay? So then there is a session on how to create effective TBL module. So that's another session. Then there are sessions on how to facilitate the TBL session. That's another session. Then how to write, the multiple choice questions and the application questions. So that's another session. So there are several different modules on this one. So today we'll be just focusing on introducing this concept. And so in the TBL, one of the challenge of the faculty is that most of the time, the students, they don't come to the class prepared, right? Even though you give the articles to read, watch the videos or book chapter to read, they don't come to class prepared. So then you will spend a lot of time in the class to discuss the concept and the principles. Then you can see when you give an application activity, they are still struggling. So to avoid that one, so this team-based learning, it's kind of a flipped classroom pedagogy. Have you heard about the flipped classroom pedagogy? Flipped classroom pedagogy, it's that. So you don't come to the class to do the lecture, but you will record the lecture in PowerPoint or any other recording devices. Then you will give to the students in advance. So ask them to watch the recordings. Then when they come to the class, you will give the real life problems and ask them to solve. So you will be a facilitator. So that's the flipped classroom. So in the traditional classroom, the assignments, homework happens in the home, right? Then the lecture happens in the classroom. So that's the flipped classroom. So flipped classroom means the lecture happens in the outside the classroom, but the homework and the assignments, activities happens inside the classroom. So that's the flipped classroom. So in the flipped classroom, in the TBL, so usually the instructor assigns a chapter or an article to read. So in the notification, I sent you a 4-page documents about the introduction. So some of you haven't got a chance to read that one, but let's just take 5 minutes. I think just to skim through that one. So then, so this will be the agenda for today. So introduction, team formation. Since I'm going to team formation, it's very important. Okay. So since it's a very small group, I'm just going to split into 2 groups, 3. Usually it's a diverse group actually. Let's say if there is if there is a heterogeneity in the group, so make sure you as an instructor from the class learning management system, their age, gender, so you kind of make the group more diverse. Before the class or the semester long, you can keep that one, okay? So what usually how in an instant class I will ask them, if there are let's say 25 students, I will ask them to count 1 to 5, then all the 1s will be in one table, then all the 2s will be another table, 3s, 4, like that I will divide. So since it's a small group, I'm not going to do, that was my plan, to stand up you all, if there were 25 participants. So there are different ways you can do this one. You can do it online as well. If you have the Moodle, the individual readiness assurance test, you can put the question in the Moodle. Then when it's the time, you can open it up, they can take it. So this one, I thought since they're face-to-face, I printed this one, okay. So in the page 2, you can open that one, page 2. So that's the individual readiness assurance test. There are 4 questions. So you will take this question, so whatever the one that you correct answer, you mark that one in the paper itself. Use the pen, there is a pen, okay, you got it. And so let's take 5 minutes to complete all those 4 questions, 5 to 7 minutes. Let's see how much time you need. Okay, good. So now, so you finished the individual readiness assurance. Usually the instructor will collect the paper. So in this case, I'm not going to collect. You can keep it. I'm not going to look at your grade now. But usually in the learning management system, you can collect their individual grade in that part. So now, what is the team readiness assurance test? So you will take the same question as a team. No, not the application, same question, the individual readiness assurance test. So you will discuss as a team and discuss what is the best question. Then on your table under there is a scratch card. Okay. So after the discussion, you will, let's say if the A is the correct answer, then you will scratch. So you will find the one. So then we will have a simultaneous report later. So I will tell that one. So you can use any pen or coin to scratch, but after the discussion. Okay, so now it's a team discussion. So you will discuss about each question as a team. So now, as I said, since I'm going a little slow with kind of explaining the process as, when you implement as well. So now what I will do, so there is a, the card, it's over there. So whatever the questions that you selected as a team, let's say for question number 1, let's say 5 teams. So you discussed, and then I will ask simultaneously when I count 1, 2, 3, simultaneously put your card on the table. Let's say yes, the answer that you discussed as a team. Okay, it's a simultaneous. What happened? It's not sequential. Okay, so usually in the traditional classroom, you will ask one team, what's your answer? Then another. So when the one team say the answer, then the other teams will change their answer, right? So instead of that one, so we will simultaneously put their answer choice on the table. Then the instructor will ask them defend the rationale why you selected. So basically, it's coming about the why question. Why did you select A instead of B? And what was the confusion, the assumptions that got wrong? So that will be the idea there. Okay, so shall we try? Okay, so for question number 1, okay? So for question number 1, when I count 1, 2, 3, yeah, oh, sorry. Yes. So you put the, not now. Yeah, so whatever the answer choice, you can put it on the top of the, Okay, great. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay. So let's look at the question number 1. So the question number 1 is that okay. So let's do the question number 1. When I count 1, 2, 3, put your answer choice on top of the table. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. So both the team got C. So let's say if there were 5 teams here, if there were different answer choices, then the discussion will be much richer actually. But still, it's a I will ask the question: what was your thinking process for selecting? Let me ask team 3. What was your thinking process for selecting C as the answer? Okay, but have you had any no arguments? Okay. Okay, honest answer. Okay, so what about team 2? Correct. See, that's what happening if the students, let's say one of your team, they didn't read the book chapter or article, then it's a team grade. Now it's a team also graded. So the individual readiness assurance is also graded, and also the team is also performance is also graded. You can do that one. Basically, I will collect this one. Then I know what was your first choice, what was the scratch that you made, right? The first attempt or second attempt. You see that? So I can collect that one, so then I know what was. So then the team grade involved, then the students who didn't read, but those who did read, they will differ. No, I know in page 2 it says, this is what the material says. You understand? So that is the difference happening. And so let's say if there are 15 questions, see here I'm giving only 4 questions. So if all the teams got C, then I think they understood that concept. So I don't have to spend time on that one. I don't have to, because they individually read that one, then they individually took, then also the team also helped to clarify their concept. So as an instructor, I don't have to spend too much time on discussing that one. Then what I will do, if there are 15 questions, let's 5 questions were some kind of a problematic, where there were different answers in the team. That means, students had some kind of a problem to understand those concepts and the principles. You see that? Yes.
How much time?
Yes.
Maybe just repeat the question for the camera.
Oh, yes. Oh, so the question is, how much time it will take for the readiness assurance?
How much time is
Recommended.
in a 1-hour class? How much time should I take for the readiness?
Okay, so usually it's a typical TBL module. Let's say you are selecting one topic. It's a 2 weeks process actually. 2 weeks means like the first session, it will be the readiness assurance process actually. So the whole time you will do that one. So rest of the 2 classes depends upon the complexity of the deep learning. You will use the application level activities that 2 weeks. So usually in the first class is the readiness assurance. But it's the topic, it's very simple. You can conclude within 1.5 hours. You can do a simple application question. But if it's a very complex, deeper topic, you ask them to read, let's say 2 articles or a book chapters, then the first class you will do the readiness assurance. So that means everyone is ready. The students are ready for that's why it's called a readiness assurance process. Okay, let's go to the second question. I'm going to count. Yeah, you can put it down this card now. For second question, in TBL, instructor conclude the readiness assurance process with appeal process, mini lecture, peer evaluation, significant problem. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. So put your card on that one. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Put your card. Okay. So here also, I think it was most of you read, and so now you can compare, usually I can look at the end, what was your individual readiness answer, the IRAT compared to the TRAT answers. So usually the IRAT, individual readiness assurance test, it will be around 60, it's the research, you can look at that. It will be 60, the percentage, the grade will be around 60 to 70%. But TRAT, it will be above 80, 90, that level. So now let's say I'm not going to, since I think the fourth one I kind of gave the, when I was trying to develop the group, I kind of gave the answer itself, right? So it should be the instructor selected, not the randomly selected team. So now I will do the mini lecture, and I think most of you have a basic understanding how the team-based learning, yes. No, actually for the individual, that means it's fixed actually. There is no change actually, because that, if we cannot change that, because that shows you read the material, right? So all the team members usually in the, it's a little behind, before the class start, you do, fix the team, create the team, then you will add the grade for the team grade also into the grade books actually. I right? No. So individual grade is there, then the team grade will be there. So in the syllabus you usually tell that, right? The readiness assurance process, this will be the weightage, or like that you can specify that one. Yeah. Okay, so now we are going to the application activity. Okay, so usually this time, okay, let me give a brief lecture about, I think, so this was the readiness assurance process, team formation, problem solving, use for essential, discuss next steps. So these were the objectives. Okay, so team-based learning, students come to class prepared, get clear feedback, use content to answer questions, solve problems, and make decisions individually and as a team. So that's the basic idea behind the team-based learning. Then, as you know, what are the key components? Readiness assurance process. Make sure learner, then there is the individual readiness assurance, team readiness assurance, then the application activity. Then students use the content to solve the FOREST framework, that is called significant problem, same problem, specific choice, and simultaneous report. So that's the FOREST framework that they use. Significant, the problem should be very significant. Okay, in any topic, it should be significant enough to solve. In other words, they cannot Google the answer. Okay, so usually the application activity is an open book. They can use any course material, they can use Google, anything. In the classroom. Or in the online also, in the Zoom, the breakout rooms, you can use that one, that's also, it's possible. But the problem should be very significant. Then it should be the same problem. Sometimes the project-based learning, each teams will get different project, right? So then sometimes we cannot compare that one. So it should be the same problem for all the teams actually, same question. Then specific choice, there should be a specific answer choice for the application activity, or even the application. Then it's the simultaneous report. As I said, every team should simultaneously report. It's not a sequential reporting the answer. It should be a simultaneous. So correct. You can be the multiple choice question. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So when you write the application level question, it's, there is another session on, how do you write the scenario, how do you write the STEM, how do you write the distractors. There is another session on how to write good multiple choice question. Okay, so this is the big idea, like the readiness assurance process, readings, then the IRAT, individual readiness assurance test, and the TRAT, then the appeal. I think I didn't spend time. Sometimes there might be some wrong questions, right? Some ambiguity in the questions. And so then what they have to do is, as a team, they have to write an appeal to the instructor. Then if the appeal, let's say the page number was wrong, or some of the wordings was not clear, then students definitely, when they work in team, they will do all the kind of discussions, right? So then they can submit a written appeal. Then if the appeal it's genuine, like usually we all humans, we make mistakes, right? Then that teams, all the teams get, if they got wrong for the answer, but it was a genuine question, so then that team will get points for the appeal, not the other teams. They cannot do that. So only the team that they do the written appeal process, they can get that one. So that's another way of keeping, engaged with the students. Okay. Okay, so this is the application activity now. So this one it's a team actually. Let's take 5 to 7 minutes. So it's there in the application activity, and find the correct answer for this one. So I will tell you when to do that one, but now you can work on that. So you did the discussion, did the question number 5? Okay, 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 okay. So you can also think about why A, and I will be asking question why A is not the best answer. So all the other options, why it was not. Okay, if you are done with the question number 5, let's take a quick minute discussion about that one. So now I'm going to count, 1, 2, 3. You can put it back the answer choice, the one on the table. So let's. Okay, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3. So then you put your answer sheet on the table. Okay. So ready? 1, 2, 3. Put your. Okay. So again, see. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to ask team 2, what was your thinking process selecting C as the answer choice?
Yeah, first, so the activity was that we want the participants to think deeply about accountability and have a rich discussion about accountability. So we felt that among the options, C is the best option. And first, I will like to tell that why we felt A, B, and D are not the correct in our point of view. If you look at the first thing that lists all the steps where accountability is at play, we think that in this case they are just they are recalling the concept and they know what is accountability and they will able to write it. So you know how the discussion I am imagining will happen. Somebody will say step 1, step 2, step 3, and it will just happen. No cross questioning or something, that extent won't be there. And if second option, just identify 2 examples. So again, in this case, everybody can give their 2 examples. Okay, this person thinks, these are the 2 best. I think these are the 2 to this. Again, like a rich discussion won't happen. And about the option number D first, identify all examples of individual. So we don't want them to rectify the examples from about accountability in TBL, but we want them to think deeply about the concept and then have a rich discussion about it. So we felt among these 4 options, C is the best one, because here we are asking that according to each individual, identify the most powerful examples. So depending upon what person's beliefs are and how they took this concept, everybody will have more or less different examples, and then the argument and discussion will happen where everybody will give their perspective that according to this was the example that I felt most connected to, and I feel this is powerful because of so reason. And there are higher chances that there will be another person who will say this other example is I feel is more powerful, and then I guess a better and rich discussion will happen among the students. So that is how we came up that C should be the best choice given the scenarios given to us for this activity.
If it's just a list, as said, it will be just a recall. So whenever you add the term like best, most, okay, it's kind of become an analysis level. They have to, let's say, for example, in the state of Maharashtra, can you list the one national park in the state of Maharashtra? Anyone can list one national park, right? So, but if I ask, what is the best national park in Maharashtra? Do you see how the things? So then the question will, okay, why this Sanjay Gandhi National Park is the best compared to other national parks? So you have to do the comparison. You see that? So that's another tip that you write when you write the high-level application question. You ask these type of questions. Correct. So then, as an instructor, you will define the criteria. What are the criteria? You, as a content subject matter expert, you will define why this particular definition is the best, or why this particular thing X is best than the Y. You, as an instructor, based on the lecture, based on the instructional material that you gave, within that one, you will make that decision, this is the best. Correct, correct. Based on the instructional materials and the pre-record, the lectures that you explain the concepts, they watch the videos, then so that would be the one. Okay. So yes, that's a very good valid point. But the thing is, even though when it comes to your grade, right, when it comes to team grade, at least you will be more comfortable to talk with your peers, right, than to talk with in front of the class, right? So let's say you might not be comfortable to talk with me as an expert, in standing, but you will be comfortable with your peer. Okay, no. I read this chapter in this page number. Here it says this is the definition concept, and this is the example. So you will try to argue. So there is another part is there. It's the peer evaluation that I didn't discuss. So sometimes, the project-based learning, the group activities, this is the problem. Like some 1 or 2 students will do all the work, then the rest of the team will get the grade, right? That's a common problem that you usually see in the group project, team project. So in the team-based learning, there is a peer evaluation. So that's also graded actually. There is a points for the peer evaluation. So then each time, let's say usually the teams are formed for the semester. Okay, so then there will be a, after 2 or 3 sessions, there will be a peer evaluation. How did A did with what was the contribution, things like that. So based on that one, the instructor will give the point. So there is a accountability peer evaluation part is there. Okay, so let's take 5 minutes. I know, so the last, I'm going to skip the other one. And since I'm going to give you a chance for you to design a classroom for TBL as a team. Okay, so that's the, it's a gallery walk. Usually what will happen, design and draw. Oops. So the question is, design and draw a diagram. Let's say, design and draw a diagram, that perfect classroom that support both teamwork and lecture online learning up to 100 students. You have complete control of all the following, and money is no object. Room shapes, room size, window, flooring, table, chairs, audiovisual, whiteboard. So how do you design? So let's think about, focus a little more on the online learning, since after the COVID now, how do you design this one in an online TBL, like this activities, like the students, individual readiness assurance test, team readiness assurance test, and the appeal process or the application activity, simultaneous reporting. So just let's say, think about a hybrid level. Okay, so play face-to-face and the online. Say, okay, just take, I know it might take, since let's say take 5 minutes just to have a general discussion about, just to draw a classroom, some ideas. And you can use the sketch. Yeah, please use the sketch. Okay, so I'm going to ask you to stop now. So can you post that your things on this wall and one on this wall? So this is called the gallery work. This is another type of an activity. So all the teams will post their poster on the gallery. Then ask the teams to put a sticky note which one you like the most. So then they have to ask, they have to say, why did you, let's say for team 3, let's say if there are 5 teams, so one team 2 got all the votes, okay, the highest vote. Then I will ask, the facilitator will ask, why did you select that design as the best one? So we'll have that discussion as well. So just quickly post that one there. So these are some of the, especially the Inter dashboard. It's a proprietary one, but it's into the team-based learning. All these things you can do online through the Inter dashboard, and the team mates, it's also for the peer evaluation. That's a free application software. So that's what I said, the pedagogy, it's kind of the flipped. You will explain the concepts and things, record the lecture before coming to the class. So in the classroom, you won't be giving the lecture, only 15-20 minutes, the mini lecture part, you will be giving the clarification points, only discussing about that part. And for the traditional classroom, let's say if the students are sitting row by row, so what they will do, 3 students in front and the 4 students in the back. So that's the way. So the 3 students can just turn their chair back and make the discussion. And also usually when it's a pre-arranged, all these materials will be, once they do the online, let's say Moodle, all the IRATs they have done. So one person from each team will come and take a packet like this one, the team or the cards. There will be TAs, or they can also distribute. So then simultaneously, even in the online also, if they want to, one person simultaneously submit the answer, team answer choice, then the instructor can display each team answer on the screen. Then they will ask, okay, each team selected different, so then you can have the discussion. That's also possible in a traditional classroom. If this kind of a setting, it's not available. That's one way. So we can kind of use the technology as a source, like doing the IRAT. Here I did the paper-based, but you can do the IRAT. Even the TRAT you can do in online. It's possible to do. There is some little technical knowledge, 1 or 2 times, but it will be more lively than so. So this is the organization, team-based learning collaborative, and what is TBL, and even there are a lot of resources available, and there are TBL module. Let's say if you developed a TBL module, you can submit to TBL. It's a peer-reviewed process. Then they will publish that module in the TBL. Sorry, the time, I know it's already 5 o'clock. There is one last question. So that module that you develop, let's say, our course, you can submit into that one, into the TBL as well. So just take 1 minute. So take an evaluation about this workshop. And so I will stay here. If you have any other questions, I'll be, the last page of that topic, there is an evaluation. Please take maybe 1 or 2 minutes to finish. And I think that's officially, because I need to keep the time. And so if Sahana, if you have any other comments or things to announce, you can do. Otherwise, the session is done. I just want to thank you for all the participants and the inviting me to do this session. Thank you very much.